Hi, I'm Jim Bremner with Desert USA. For over 30 years, we have been exploring and sharing our stories about America's deserts. Recently, we visited the Salton Sea in March 2025 to document the changes taking place. Changes so dramatic they caught me off guard. As we arrived in Salton City on the west side of the Salton Sea, the scale of the shoreline retreat was astonishing. The water is now over 1,600 feet from the original shoreline. Equally striking was the massive operation underway to combat the dust crisis. Thousands of hay bales stretched across the dry lake bed to stabilize the ground and drastically reduce toxic dust. This is a critical battle as the dust laden with hazardous minerals from agricultural runoff is swept into the air by frequent windstorms, posing serious health risks to residents. Hay bales are temporarily deployed to suppress dust by acting as physical barriers against wind, reducing dust emissions by up to 90%. They remain effective for 2 to 3 years before breaking down in the arid environment. While they provide short-term relief, this gives time for native vegetation to grow. The vegetation offers sustainable long-term solutions by stabilizing soil and creating wildlife habitats, enhancing air quality and ecological health. Salton City and nearby Desert Shores, California, were born from a bold vision in the 1950s, a dream that this inland sea could anchor a vibrant resort empire. Developers paved over 250 miles of roads, laid full water and sewer systems, and carved canals to residential lots. These were supposed to be marinas, lined with homes and boats, drawing weekenders and retirees to the shores of the Salton Sea. Back then, the water sparkled. People water skied, fished for corvina, and watched pelicans glide above the surface. Investors bought up lots by the thousands. Some never even visited. It was marketed as the next Palm Springs, only with a beach. But the sea had no outlet, and as water evaporated, what remained behind got saltier and more polluted. Fish kills, algal blooms, and the stench of decay turned tourists away. Boat ramps and canals were left stranded. Entire neighborhoods remained empty, paved, plumbed, and waiting for a promise that never came. Today, Salton City still exists, a scattering of homes. Some nice ones, but most are modest or in decline. Streets end in silence, and waterfront dreams are now hundreds of feet from the receding shoreline. A handful of homes still have docks, now overlooking dry ditches filled with the wind-blown dust. Just north in Desert Shores, the story was similar but a little more hopeful. In 2025, a restoration project, led by locals and supported by state and federal funds, is finally moving forward. The goal? To pump water back into 5 dry residential canals, creating a managed aquatic zone that controls dust, improves habitat, and maybe, just maybe, restores a bit of what was lost. The catch? That water comes from the Salton Sea itself, hypersaline and full of nutrients. So the project relies on circulation, treatment of wetlands, and habitat design to avoid recreating the same stagnant mess. The outlook is cautious, but hopeful. Across both towns, one truth remains. The sea won't return to its old self. The shoreline will continue to recede, and the days of sport fishing and beachfront property are long gone. But not all is lost. People still live here. Communities still hold on. And in places like Desert Shores, a small oasis of blue may yet return, held together by pumps, grit, and memory. The east side of the Salton Sea is a different story. Some bird sanctuaries and wetlands have been successfully established thanks to the water benefits from 2 rivers, the New and Alamo, still flowing and allowing for wetlands restoration, mainly carrying agricultural runoff into the sea. Over the years, I've documented efforts to plant specialized vegetation to stabilize soil and reduce dust. Our videos from 2017 showcase the steady progress of these initiatives. Today, these regions appear visibly healthier and control erosion in these areas, but it is just a small start in this long-term ecological battle. I still remember my first visit to Bombay Beach. It must have been sometime in the late 90s. The sea still touched the edge of town back then. The skeletons of that dream were still standing. Old motels, bait shops, and crumbling signs that once welcomed weekenders looking for sunshine and water. But the water keeps moving away. Salt and time ate through the foundations, and little by little, Bombay Beach was left behind. In the 50s and 60s, it was one of the brightest spots on the Salton Sea. A real desert resort town. Families came from LA and brought their boats, their kids, and big hopes. It had the makings of something lasting, but like so many things out here, it didn't last. Today, Bombay Beach is something different. The trailers are still there, some lived in, some barely holding together, but now there's art where you'd least expect it. A drive-in theater made of junk cars plays silent films to the horizon. Every corner feels like a question. What happened here? Who put this together? Why? It turns out that in the emptiness, artists have found space. They turned a dying town into a canvas. The Bombay Beach Biennale, part art show, part community project, has given the place a strange kind of life again. It's not the kind it used to have, but maybe it's the type it needs now. If you're out this way, I'd say stop and take a walk. Look past the ruins. Read the stories in the dust. Bombay Beach may no longer be the Riviera of the Salton Sea, but it hasn't disappeared. It's just changed shape. The Salton Sea's shorelines are a ticking environmental time bomb, with 35,000 acres already in critical condition and a staggering 67,000 acres projected to be at risk by 2028. Can our conservation efforts defuse this crisis before the shoreline's rapid retreat triggers an ecological disaster? Recent discoveries of significant lithium deposits in the area have sparked speculation that lithium extraction could revitalize the local economy. However, given the severe water shortages in the Southwest and upcoming changes to Colorado River water allocations in 2026, the practicality of lithium extraction remains uncertain. Moreover, with the potential peak in demand for electric vehicles, the emergence of alternative technologies is clouding the long-term viability of lithium-based solutions in this region. The biggest question still looms. Can these erosion control and dust mitigation efforts continue effectively and quickly enough to maintain some semblance of normalcy? The desert is always changing. Our mission remains to help you understand, explore, and appreciate these dynamic landscapes. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe, and I'll see you on our next adventure in the desert Southwest.